Alright, Ken here. This is ALGO Prime Magnus. This is our turnkey system. It will have adjustment settings so that you as a trader can go ahead and trade 4 different ways. I have all the waves on this particular chart, but what you are not seeing is the actual trend wave, which colors the background of this chart. And so when the trend wave is down and we get a pullback, in this particular pullback wave, in this case it's the yellow line right here, we're just simply running a trend wave and a pullback, and then the entry will be X number of ticks off the bar's previous open. So in this case it did pretty well. You can see the trend changed right here. We did a pullback with the yellow line showing that it was an entry price right here, and we set our target values. All of that can be set from within the strategy. And so it's up, it's down, it's up, and again it's down. So this is how this particular strategy works. You can choose a trend. Now I have a trend here on this chart, 5 by 1 by 100. This chart on the right is a different trend background, so you can see that the colors are painted a bit differently. So running different scenarios. But here you can see that the trend changed. Immediately we had a pullback and an entry, a trend change, a trend down, up, and there was an attempted entry there for a short, a stop out, here. So this is through 10:30, and I guess we could just take it right on through to the end of the day. Market began to run this Friday. A little later on, it got some really nice runs in there. Stop out there. A trend came back, caught me at the 9-tick trailing stop that I placed in there. Again, you can place whatever you want. So what I like to do with my strategies is at least is allow traders the value of making their own changes so that you can try out different wave sets, different bar sizes. I will have suggested turnkey settings that you might want to consider or use. But as you get used to the system, you can go ahead and set your own values and see how they work for you. And let's see, this is 1:30 Eastern Standard Time. Some very good moves in the market about right here. She began trending up to the end of the day. This was a nice move here. We got the full both targets on that one. First target to pullback. First target, second target. It was a nice move. This is only trading 2 contracts. The one on the right is also a 2-contract trade. On the YM, it's $5 per tick for people with small accounts. I think especially this is a good idea. And let me just show you another chart here. Give me a second. Okay, what I wanted you to see here is that this is a simplified chart using the same concept of trend and pullback. In this case, I'm using an identical trend chart. Is my 725 by 100 here on the left, and then I've also been showing you a second chart running the very same settings but on a larger chart, 10-tick by 1 by 100. And each of these charts, the trend is 10-tick 1 by 100. I'm using a wave 2, and the wave 1 is for pullback. So they have slightly different settings, and this is the kind of results you get. So this is not quite as complex as the previous charts that I had just shown to you. But here you can see that trend changes up. We get a pullback. We would have a trade someplace in here on the 7-tick chart. And so I've notified where that trade would be signaled somewhere right in here. And I think it didn't move very far, up to about 71. And on the 7-tick chart, there would have been a trade here also signaled. You can see that the longer term trend is trending down. Again, this is a more simplified chart, really nothing complex. but there were some good trades in there, and it wouldn't have been too far along in the day, probably just after 10 o'clock, and you could have been done. And so we didn't get any other trades right around until here. We signaled another trade. Also, the 10-tick chart over here signaled a trade as its wave 1 pulled back against the second wave and triggered a signal. Let's see, we get another trade right here on the 7-tick chart. Smaller chart, more trades. Also, while the possibilities are greater, also the losses could be more. Two very nice trades right there. Would have worked very nicely. No pullback here far enough. So that takes us to the end of the day. So that's what that looks like. It's just more of a simplified system for trading, and I think that will also be part of the strategy and the suggestions about how you might plug in the system to make it turnkey in order to trade. But again, I like to allow traders the flexibility to decide themselves and to experiment with it, and it has phase settings, and we'll explain that once we are in a place to actually release the software. But until then, if you have any questions, you can write me at contact@algoprime.com. Thank you.